Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at some Tier 7 ranked games. Starting off with the Scharnhorst 43. This was the free ship that you could earn during the Christmas update last year. And this thing is awesome. It is so much fun. I'm sorry if you missed this one, but for those of you that got it, I'm sure you've been enjoying it as much as I have been in this Tier 7 ranked season. Tier 7 ranked being one of the more fun experiences in this game, in my opinion. Just because the fights tend to be at closer range, the power level of the ships, the range of the ships is just nowhere near as extreme as they get at higher tier. And Tier 7 seems to produce some of the most fun engagements for me. The reason I don't play it as much in randoms is, well, the up tiers kind of hurt this tier a lot. Since Tier 8 is a pretty massive power spike, gaining that 5th upgrade slot, and then Tier 9's getting the 6th upgrade slot. So there's a lot of power there that Tier 7s don't get access to that sometimes they have to fight against. Which is why I'm so excited anytime we have Tier 7 ranked seasons that allow me to fight against my same tier. Now, sprawling battleships, secondary battleships, I tend to enjoy those a lot, so maybe that's influencing that decision and that love for the Tier 7 ranked seasons. But Scharnhorst 43, West Virginia 44, if you haven't earned that one yet, that is in this dockyard, actually. So halfway through, or a little more than halfway through, I think, in this one, you can earn the West Virginia 44. And we're going to look at that one next. But for now, we got to take a look at this Scharnhorst 43. A little worse than the normal Scharnhorst when it comes to the main guns, longer reload. But your secondaries are very nice on this one, and your torpedoes reload very quickly. I'm going to get a little bit greedy for these torps here, so it's possible I take a massive hit. I get pretty lucky the Synop doesn't just wait and shoot me. But that is a 40-second cooldown now. It's a little longer than that. I think it's 45 seconds on your torpedoes before they're up again. So anytime you get a chance like this to just full send it into multiple ships, you can actually use the torpedoes fairly early on. And by the time you get up to the ships, they should be reloaded again. That's what's really fun about this one, is it's so different that the torpedoes come back so quickly. It's not main guns level, but I mean, let's be honest, Vermont gets a 40-second reload, these torpedoes 45-second reload. That's pretty extreme. We miss our first ones, but hoping to finish off the Synop first, as that's a rather dangerous target. We eat some good damage. That is going to happen at these closer ranges. Fortunately, the California doesn't get us. We're going to get our torpedoes off, and then hoping to get some citadels as well. And rear guns managed to punch the ticket. We're on 6k HP. We're using our heal. 900 HP. Barely alive. Now, I'm not quite able to turn and use my left side torpedoes in this one. We got to turn in and slow down to actually dodge these incoming torpedoes. But the other thing that makes Scharnhorst 43 so fun in these game modes, I mean, it's got to be the speed boost, right? Just having that extreme ability to just run at people so quickly with a brawling secondary torpedo, angry German battleship. It is so much fun. And we've done so much, or at least gotten enough ribbons, that the secondary counter's actually up off the screen in the top right. Doesn't happen very often. But when you full send like this, it certainly can. And those torpedoes come back up in time for us to kill that California. And we actually don't end up dying here, which feels pretty good. Barely surviving. And that's thanks to the Scharnhorst. Pretty good armor, I would say. We didn't quite play that perfectly. Took some big hits there, but that's all right. 127. Very nice way to get ourselves started in this ranked video. The secondary's putting in some work too. Nearly 24,000 damage in that one. Moving on though, West Virginia 44, another free, I guess, battleship you can earn, right? Of course takes time, but these ones you can earn. The Scharnhorst being in the Battle Pass during the Christmas season 2023, and West Virginia 44 being, well, in essentially the Battle Pass, but the dockyard right now. It's basically a battle pass, let's be honest. And you can earn this one as well. It has the accurate secondaries like Massachusetts, Georgia, and Ohio, but it's got a faster reload. So even though there's only 4 secondary turrets, the reload's so quick that the DPM is extreme out of these guns. And the function here at Tier 7 is that most of the battleships have 26 millimeters of armor. We have 406s as well, by the way, which, yeah, they do pretty good work into a broadside Fiji at these close ranges, not gonna lie. But these secondaries allow you to full pen battleships, actually. That's something that the higher tier American secondary battleships can't do. So if we take IFHE on the West Virginia 44, we can not only have the improved accuracy and DPM of these American secondaries here, these special American secondaries, we can full pen battleships, which causes a ton of damage. And the range is pretty good here at tier 7 as well, because that was buffed up quite a while ago. Pretty lucky Citadel, I would say there, but those 406s have some serious punching power. Tier 7, that's kind of typical to have those 406s, maybe 380s, I guess, as well. But as you have Tier 7 battleship armor, you're subject to take a lot of damage in return. 26 millimeters pretty much everywhere, except maybe your torpedo protection's a little better on West Virginia 44. So that's where the fast cooldown heals come into play. So as soon as you take some big hits, well, you can just pop your heal, and that's going to come back in 40 seconds. There's just so much to like about the West Virginia 44. So I found myself oftentimes just swapping between them. I would go West Virginia 44 for a game, then I'd go Scharnhorst 43 for a game, and I'd just bounce back and forth between them and have a really, really good time in Tier 7 ranked. I'm kind of looking for that Maya on the 9 line there. He's done a really good job of making it very difficult for me to get a good shot lined up into him. So I'm going after easier targets is the idea. If someone's being elusive like that, there's no point in waiting the whole time for them. I'd rather get the damage in on some of the easier targets to hit. So this Nye's now staying bow in, but our secondaries are going to chew him up a little bit here and there. Although he is going to get out of our secondary range. It's not like the higher tiers where you get that 11 or 11.3 kilometers range. You only get 9.5. Which at tier 7, to be fair, is quite long range already. This tier, again, just I love the closer range engagements that you typically see here. So the West Virginia 44, definitely a really good pick. And if you manage to grind it out for free, I'm sure you've already been enjoying it. But keep in mind, that is almost over, actually. We've only got a few more days left of those missions being available. And then, of course, you can still buy your way through the dockyard, but that gets very, very expensive rather quickly. And again here, just deciding to focus on the enemy knives now instead of the angled cruiser. Much more HP there. I want to help finish off targets. This game is pretty much won, so that's really not necessary to do things like this, but anytime you're looking to win games, you do want to be finishing off low health targets. That's really crucial here. And of course, going after destroyers as well, so get our secondaries out on that guy. But man, it is fun with tier 7, and it's not just the battleships, I gotta say. The cruisers are a little bit weak at these tiers, let's be honest here. Not having healing, very challenging. The overmatch level, very challenging. You don't have the DPM necessarily that some of the higher tier cruisers get compared to their opponents, so it can be difficult. Although I gotta say, there's been a bit of a sleeper that I haven't noticed in the game before that we're gonna get to next. But pretty good game here, nearly 20k from those secondaries. Not even a ton of secondary hits. But you've probably seen this coming if you've played the ship before, but Wiemar is insane. Like, how did I not know about this ship earlier, man? Wow, this thing is amazing. You get a 15% speed boost that lasts a long time. This ship also gets mines guns just with a 8-second reload instead of a 6-second reload. Although you get much better concealment than the mines does. And the maneuverability, especially when you get that speed boost up, is very nice. Look at some of these AP salvos into this Algerie. Was that initial one like 7k? That's nuts, man. The AP here absolutely slaps. So you can think of this ship as just slightly less DPM than a mines, but you get better maneuverability as well as having that, well, much nicer concealment. It allows you to play much more aggressively in different positions. Nice little finishing shot there. Getting those citadels out of the AP. You're not going to get citadels all that often because German AP, especially 150 AP, is pretty light here. So we got to be rather close or just be fighting against our own tier, right? Where tier 7 has a lot of cruisers that can take almost, they have almost paper armor basically. So it actually works out in our favor. The AP being the key strength of this ship, though. The HE is kind of anemic, but as far as damage is concerned, but at least it pens, right? It's got some good pens, like 38mm pen, much like the mines has as well. It does lack range, though, the Wiemar. It does lack the range, so that is something to keep in mind, although we have a spotter plane to make up for that. So, I don't know, man. This thing seems just insane. Only 14km base range, but that's helping us here. Look at how we're in the open relative to that enemy Sinop, and I think it's a nice now as well. but they can't spot me because they're just outside of my main gun range. This is why sometimes having shorter gun range is actually a benefit. Now that they're close enough, I get spotted here, and I actually have to take cover so that they don't just, well, especially this Colorado doesn't just turn and focus on me, so I can at least go dark again. But it's nice, man. This is a really, really nice ship, and I'm sure those of you that have been playing it already are like, well, duh, obviously, PQ, this thing's amazing. But I just hadn't played it before. I don't know why. I don't know why I hadn't. Maybe I just thought it was much, much worse than mine's. I just made that assumption and never took a close look at it. But man, this thing is awesome. And sure, it's not going to bring the utility of a radar like maybe you could with an Atlanta, but these guns are just much, much easier to use than an Atlanta. Don't get me wrong, I love the Atlanta. I've been playing some Boise as well. That's super heal, pretty fun as well. But this thing is just really nice to use in these ranked season because, well, like in this game, we have an off flank where we're able to take advantage of that speed boost to get a nice broadside shot, surprise an enemy cruiser that doesn't realize we could be out there so soon, and then all the battleships that want to brawl it out in the middle of the map. And I mean, let's be honest, I was doing this in an earlier clip, right? If we can get those flanking shots, man, it's very difficult for those battleships, those brawling battleships to operate with you just pouring in that DPM from an off flank. And you can even do it from pretty far away with this extra range here from this spotter plane. There's that Luchin's proccing, of course. That's a really nice feature of these German cruisers, especially when they're a premium German cruiser, where you can swap the commanders over for free. Well, that's just extra reload given to us right there. Not insane damage, we're only at like 60k here so far, but nothing really more was needed in this game. But I can easily see this ship farming so much damage off of battleships in this game mode, because they all want to push in. So if you know how to position a cruiser to wait for battleships to push in and farm them out, if you're good at that, man, Wiemar can do a really, really good job. Although I'm a little partial to Atlanta, just because that ship is such a classic. It's so fun to have such fast-firing guns, so many of them, but it's harder to use just because of the lack of range. The shell velocity is so bad on that one, and I think it probably dies a little easier than Wiemar does. Not quite as maneuverable with that speed boost on the Wiemar as well, giving it an advantage in that way as well. So there are different options, but cruisers in general, I would say, are much harder to use at this tier than that battleships are, and actually than destroyers as well. I don't have a DD clip for you guys, but Haida is just kind of overpowered, and Huron now too, with even more damage output and a heal and some Canadian bias at tier 7 destroyers, if I'm gonna be honest with you, which is kind of surprising given how we only have a few ships in the game, but it's kind of funny, man. As for the builds in these ships, typically they're going to be pretty aggressive, and I might even swap the builds specifically for ranked. This is a more general build for West Virginia 44. I think I swapped out concealment. I might have taken things like Brisk or maybe Turret Traverse, maybe even Furious or Close Quarters Combat. I can't remember what I had now. The commander I was using was Halsey, of course, but I've since swapped him over to, I think, Maine, and then changed the build up from there. So I don't remember exactly, but here's a more standard build probably for West Virginia 44. But a very, very, very strong battleship, and yeah, it's in the dockyard at the moment. So as I'm recording this, there's only 6 days left, so maybe not the most useful warning in the world, but you've probably been aware of that, as I think a lot of people were pretty hyped for this dockyard. As for Wiemar, it's like, I'm probably mispronouncing that as well, sorry, I apologize. But it's a good ship, man, it's a good ship. I like the eye in the sky skill here, just because our range is so limited, and that is a very useful thing to have, but taking things like top grade gunner is so nice. And we don't even need to take IFHE. This is something you're often taking with 150, 152 millimeter guns at tier 7, because you want to pen that 26 millimeters of armor. Here we just get that 38 mil base. It's a very nice feature of these German ships, is that quarter pen that's baked into them. Although our HE shell damage is pretty bad at 1700. It's the AP that you want to be using with this one. Very, very strong ship though. Very fun to play, and give it a go if you haven't. If you have the ship, I don't know if it's for sale or anything like that, but yeah, it's a good one. If you see it come up on like an actual discount or something like that, could be one to look at, not gonna lie. Just kind of some impressions here for you. And then Scharnhorst 43. I do find myself playing Scharnhorst 43 over the regular one, to be totally honest with you. I just enjoy that speed boost a little bit more. Yeah, I must have swapped the engine boost off of something because I'm definitely running engine boost because it's so powerful here again. 15%. Wiemar as well with that 15%. It's really nice. Secondaries are strong. Those torpedoes, man, it's 45 seconds. 45-second reload on those torps, man. It's like main guns at high tier, almost, for a Vermont, for example. And then you're just going full secondaries in on people. It's really good. You probably don't need IFAG at this tier, to be honest with you. But this build is run on some other battleships at higher tier, where the 105s definitely need IFHE at higher tier to get 32 mil pen. Here they don't need that, but I just didn't swap the commander over or change the skills up. But that's going to do it for today's video. Just some really fun times in ranked that I've had. This is a little while ago that I've had these games kind of just sitting on the hard drive for a bit, and just had to get them out there because, man, tier 7 ranked, so much fun. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.